going to talk about the Super Bowl. Before we get to the Super Bowl, we're going to talk about the Texans, and I know Indy wants to talk about what? Depth, talent?
Talk about what they need to do to get to the Super Bowl. So next year when we're doing the Super Bowl show, we're also talking about the Houston Texans.
Ooh.
And I think they're in a position that they haven't been ever in their existence. They're drafting for depth. That's a luxury. I don't think you could look at any one position on the Houston Texans team and say they have to replace this starter. You might argue that the cornerback position is that position, but I think with the guys that they have, with Bryce McCain, Sherrick McManus, the guys that are going to be competing for that starting spot alongside Jonathan Joseph, their answer is already in the locker room. And this year's draft and veteran free agencies that they're going to add, they're all going to be for depth, and I think that's a very, very good thing.
They did finish second in defense. They were fourth against the run, third against the pass, so they couldn't have been too bad in the secondary. But next year, they're going to have to play Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Of course, they played Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger this season. I think that the big need is going to be a wide receiver. Everybody thinks that he's a corner, but Kareem Jackson played a lot better than they thought. And I've been running an 11-part series in the Chronicle, and I've talked to the coaches, the players, assistant coaches, and the defensive coaches say Kareem played better than people give him credit for. That we only watch him when he gets beat. We never see all those times that he's doing it. Like when you didn't get a sack, you still may have tied up the guy, and you still may have made a play. Why is it that fans don't give respect for that?
Well, one, because the casual fan just doesn't know. And the way he started his career, everyone's only going to notice the negatives. They're not going to notice when he has a pass broken up. They're going to say that should have been an interception. They're not going to notice when the quarterback doesn't even go to him because he's doing a very good job on coverage. They're just going to say he got lucky on that play because he wasn't tested. It's the way that he started. The casual fan doesn't have a chance to sit in the meeting room and sit there and look through every single play like his teammates do, like his coaches do, and that's why his coaches are saying he played better than people give him credit for. The only time you hear his name is when he's beat for a touchdown. Guess what? Jonathan Joseph had an all-pro season. He was beat for a couple of touchdowns this year. The best cornerbacks are going to be beaten for touchdowns because they're going against the best wide receivers. Kareem Jackson had a better season, and I still think whether it's Jason Allen, Bryce McCain, or any other cornerback on that roster, Brandon Harris, who was taken in the second round last year, they have their answer at the cornerback position.
You mentioned Jason Allen. He's one of their unrestricted free agents. I don't know that he'll be back. They've got other ways to spend their money. Now, if I ask you to pick between, do you bring back Mario Williams or Arian Foster, and you had to make a choice, which one would it be?
And I have to choose one.
You have to choose one.
Well, so what you're really asking me is, do I want the best running back in the NFL or one of the best pass rushers in the NFL? And this goes against my beliefs, but I would have to sign Arian Foster just because he's a special, special guy. And when you're talking about a guy who's going to be touching the ball 30 to 35 times a game, the impact he has, the impact of the best running back versus the impact of, let's say, the best pass rusher is going to be stronger on the offensive side. So I'll go with Arian Foster.
Texans think they can sign both of these guys. Mario just finished his 6-year, $54 million contract. He made $18 million last year. Arian Foster made $525,000. Most underrated player in the league. They're going to try to sign Mario. They can't franchise him. That would cost $22.9 million. The cap last year was $120 million. It's supposed to go to $124. They spent $20 million over it, so they got to get under it but by March the 13th, and then after they get under it, they got to redo contract, cuts players, try to free up money to sign Mario, and they don't have to sign Arian, but they want to sign Arian. And the thing is, they could tender Arian, but if they didn't match an offer sheet, they'd only give a number one. Could you see a team that needs a great running back to say at a low pick with a lot of cap money come in there and front loading a deal that the Texans couldn't match?
Absolutely. When you look at Arian Foster, again, I call him special, and I'm using that word a little too often, but he's one of those backs that I could see another team fall in love with his talents, fall in love with his age, and saying that, you know what, we're going to build our team around him. Most teams think about building a team around a quarterback, but if there's one guy, one GM, that's all it takes, that says, I want to build my team around this running back, they'll do any and everything to make an offer that the Texans can't match. The Texans are going to have to lock him down to a multi-year contract and hope they can keep Mario. But if Mario hits the open market, I think he's going to say bye-bye to Houston.
Those teams out there sitting on 25 or 30 million in salary cap space, they can offer Mario so much money. And one of them, you hope it's not. You don't want it to be the Tennessee Titans who got 30 million to spend. Not that they're going to, But if Bud Adams sees that it might stick it to the Texans like Vince Young, he thought Vince Young did, he might tell him, sign Mario Williams, and that would not be good.